Guys, I've got some bad news. Selling on Amazon isn't all sunshine and rainbows. In fact, there are some very dark practices that sellers are using today to get an unfair advantage over the competition. So today, I'm going to show you the dark side of selling on Amazon and how you can proactively protect your business and potentially save thousands of pounds. Firstly, what do you guys think of the cheesy motivational posters on the wall? I was thinking about going for a live, laugh, love poster, but then I realised I'm not a middle-aged woman. No offence if you've got a live, laugh, love poster. Okay, if you're watching this video, you probably already know what an amazing opportunity Amazon FBA is. But with it being such an amazing opportunity, some sellers are using dark and unfair practices to get a leg up against the competition. Now I'm going to share one of these practices today through the experience of a seller who has just got started, and sadly this has happened to him. So thanks to him for letting me share his story. Okay, like everyone getting started with Amazon FBA, he found a product where the sellers were doing really good revenue and the reviews seemed low enough that he could enter in and start selling successfully. So he seemingly did everything right. He invested in a course, he fully understood the business model, and he sourced a high quality product. So he thought he did all his due diligence and all that was left to do was ship it to Amazon and get selling. So he got it into Amazon, and on his first day he did 2 sales, and then 5, and then 10, and then 15. And with this being his first product, he was just incredibly excited and just amazed at the opportunity before him. And rightfully so, he had done everything right, and within 4 days he was on page 1 for all his main keywords, and in fact on one day alone he had done over £400 in sales. But this level of success doesn't go unnoticed, and his competitors saw a drop off in their sales. And this is where the unfair practice comes in. One of his competitors filed a false utility patent claim. So you may be thinking, well, surely he'll get a chance to dispute it and prove that it is a false claim, but no, Amazon immediately deactivated his listing. So that means he went from selling 20 units in one day to not being able to sell a single one of his units. Now this doesn't mean he can't necessarily sell this product, it just means for the time being, until he proves to Amazon that he is not in the wrong, then he can't sell it. Now, from what I've heard, this practice of filing false patent claims is only really ever been seen in the US, but he was selling in the UK, where it is known to be less competitive and less cutthroat. So you can imagine the agony he was in, because he invested everything into this product, and just to get that little taste of what the Amazon opportunity is truly like, just to have it taken away from you is truly a very painful experience. So you may be thinking this is just completely unfair and unjustified that Amazon lets this carry on. And for the most part, I would agree with you. But it's important to remember Amazon is a customer-driven company. Their number one priority is making sure the customer is happy. And as a result, not a lot of resources go towards making sure the support is there for sellers like you and me. Now that means if Amazon receives a patent claim saying that your product is infringing on their patent, regardless of whether it's false or not, they're just going to deactivate your listing and basically leave it up to you to fight to prove your innocence. Because at the end of the day, they really aren't too bothered about the experience of the seller. They only really care about the customer. That means if they receive any kind of patent or copyright claim from a seller, their first incentive is just to cover their own backs and make sure they don't get sued. Because think about it, there's either 2 possibilities. Either they leave the product up that is supposedly infringing on the copyright or patent claim, and worst case scenario here is that the seller that reported them sues Amazon, basically saying, hey look, I gave you this proof that they were infringing on my copyright and you didn't do anything about it. Whereas if they just immediately deactivate your listing without asking any questions, then worst case scenario is you could prove your innocence and they'll just reactivate it. So of course Amazon are just going to act in their own self-interest. So just to recap, this new seller entered this market, started getting a lot of sales and taking sales away from the existing competitors in this market. They then filed a design patent infringement claim to Amazon, and Amazon deactivated his listing. Okay, so what did he do after this? So what he had to do was put in an appeal to Amazon, basically giving as much proof as possible as to why the claim was false. And here's the funny / incredibly frustrating point for the seller. He found another UK based seller selling this product who also got a false design patent infringement notice. And this seller actually took the person who filed the claim to court and won, basically proving that the person filing the claims has no rights to the actual patent. Anyway, if he can't successfully appeal it by himself, he's going to go to an intellectual rights solicitor and get them to appeal for him. And if that doesn't work, he's going to go to an actual solicitor who actually specializes in Amazon cases like this in the US. And get this, that would cost $2,000. Now, I didn't create this video to just scare you off Amazon FBA because it is still an amazing opportunity. I just wanted to shed some light on a dark practice that a small minority of sellers are using to get an unfair advantage. It happens a lot more in the US market, and to be honest, this is the first time I've actually heard of it actually happening in a UK or EU market. So what can you do if this actually happens to you? Well, the first thing to do is create an appeal and send it to Amazon with as much proof and evidence you can possibly think of to basically prove that you are not infringing on any patents or copyrights. The reality is this appeal might not even get through to a real person, so just send it through as many different avenues, emails, telephone, anything you can think of basically, just to try and reach a real person at Amazon. Of course, this is assuming you believe you haven't actually infringed on any copyright or patents. Okay, if you tried sending multiple appeals through different avenues to try and reach someone at Amazon and it just hasn't been successful, then it might be time to actually consider reaching out to a legal professional like a intellectual property solicitor or an Amazon solicitor like he's doing. Of course, I'm not speaking from my own experience here. This is just another seller's story and situation that I'm sharing with you. Okay, but how can you avoid or at least mitigate the chance of getting in this situation in the first place? Of course, the most obvious thing is just do your due diligence. Make sure there are no patents, that's utility patents or design patents, no copyrights or trademarks you're going to be infringing on. Just make sure you're creating a product that just doesn't infringe on any of these things. For checking for patents, two resources I would use is just go on Fiverr and actually search for someone to check for patents in the UK or EU or whatever marketplace you're going to be selling in, just to get an idea of whether there's any registered or existing trademarks for what you're trying to sell. And Google Patents actually lets you search for any existing patents for a particular product. Okay, I'll just finish up with a quick update on my own Amazon journey. I should have one of my products arrive in the Amazon warehouse at some point next week. Now, I'm not actually sure which is going to arrive first, because I've got one coming in by sea and one coming in by air, and it's hard to know which is going to come in first. It could end up being, on the same day. So I'll be sure to create a video on my launch strategy, my PPC, and also get my first sale. So if you are interested in finding out how my Amazon journey goes, then please be sure to subscribe. Also, I've invested in a ring light and some new equipment to try and improve the quality of my videos and bring you as much value as possible. So if you can notice a difference, please be sure to drop a like. Now, if this video on different kinds of patents and different trademarks, copyrights has just been too overwhelming and put you off a bit, I'd recommend you check out a full guide to Amazon FBA that I'll link in the top right that I did, that really breaks down the Amazon process. That makes it seem a lot more manageable. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video and I'll catch you in the next one.